This is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. This week we'll sit down with Carter Mauch of Hankinson Boys Basketball as the Pirates are a top 10 team in Division B Boys Hoops. Also, Matt Askegaard of the Barnesville Boys Basketball Trojans Club will be joining us as well. Barnesville off to a really nice start so far here on this season. From there, a couple of girls basketball conversations with Kenyon Wingenbach of West Fargo Cheyenne and Zachary Kakela here of Park Christian Girls Basketball. And we'll close off the program hearing from Jesse Vogt of North Star as they're in the top 10 Division B Boys Basketball poll as well. And hear from four Winds-Minnewaukan standout, that is Deng as part of our senior spotlight. Let's open up the conversation with our one-on-one last night after the Hankinson Pirates beat the Maple River Raiders in Tower City. Here's our conversation with Carter Mauch.
We come back here on our post-game show. Joining us now is Carter Mauch, head coach for the Hankinson Pirates. We just heard from Andrew moments ago. Carter, let's talk about his play. We had him down for a double-double. I mean, that battle between him and T. Stilling offensively, defensively was a lot of fun from a basketball fan's perspective. Maybe not as fun sometimes of a coach's perspective, but what did you see from Andrew's play to rise to the occasion? Came in averaging 9 points and doubled that here tonight in Tower City.
Yeah, Andrew has that ability to, be a night in, night out, double-double type player. He just hasn't been able to produce the points as of recently. He's kind of been getting shoved around a little bit, and it was really, really nice to see him, go to battle tonight with T. Like I told you on pregame, that was our focus going into the game, put a body on him. He had himself a very nice game himself, but very proud of the effort that Andrew had. Especially inside today. So,
from an outsider perspective, coming in, Rayshawn averages 26 of your team's 61 points per game. Tonight he was held to 9, but you still found two guys in double digits. You had 4 with 9 or more points. So what is a game like this where it doesn't have to be Rayshawn creating and driving and doing all the work offensively? What does that do from a coach's perspective?
Yeah, and we need that. Ray's gonna get that type of defense, every game from here on out. So we gotta have the performances we had tonight with, from our 2 through 7, 8, 9 guys. Ray was kind of struggling there in the first half, and it kind of carried on in the second half. And there's a timeout in the third quarter, and I just got to look at him, and I go, 95% of basketball is with the ball not in your hands. When you're doing screens, when you're impacting in other ways. So I was just telling Ray, what can you do in 95% of the other time to get your teammates involved, get your teammates good looks? And I thought he did a heck of a job tonight, in that kind of role. So we're going to need him to score, but I like what I saw out of, like I said, our 2 through 8 guys tonight. So
yeah, he was normally the one receiving the screen. This time he was the one giving the screen a couple times to get Gene open. Let's talk about Oakley's play. Came in, was an energizer bunny for you guys. He hit a 3-pointer there, kind of when you thought, maybe Maple River makes a run, get it back with a 9. Boom, he hits a 3, gets it to 16. I just talk about what he provides off the bench for this year's Hankinson club.
Yeah, he provides a spark for us. He's not the biggest guy, but when he goes in, he's got to kind of assume that post-type role, if he's in there for Andrew or David or even Cooper. And he's literally an energizer bunny. He'll be out there. He's very scrappy. He'll go for loose balls. Likes to jump. I got to get that out of him. But he's a heck of a player and heck of a sixth man for us. And I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of the season he's had so far, and looking for more continued success from him. So
as we go with the last couple weeks of the regular season here, what have you enjoyed most? You played in districts. It's back to districts here. What have you enjoyed most about this 3-class or 3-division system from your perspective here, Cody, from a coach's perspective here with Hankinson this season?
Yeah, I like it. I really do. Gives us kind of smaller schools kind of more of a chance. We're not facing the big dogs anymore, and that was great. It really was. But now it's kind of back to where I think it should be, where you're playing the smaller schools. I love the district tournament. I know there's more than a district tournament, and going on to regionals, but there's just something about the district tournament that's special, and I'm just excited for the next 2 weeks, building towards districts. So got 2 more district games. Hopefully those go well for us, and then we got a couple non-conference games to kind of get the tools shined up, before districts. So
yeah, you mentioned that, Carter. Again, Friday night, a big game with Barnesville North that could determine the number 2 seed as we take a look at it, and then Monday against Tri-State, which is a team that's probably better than what their record says right now. So final thing for you, Carter, before I let you go. Ultimately, 4 quarters of basketball, found a way to win at the Raider Dome here before you head back home and go up against a quality opponent on Friday. Biggest thing you hope to carry with you from this win moving forward?
I just want to, carry that energy, push the pace. that was our other game plan tonight, was to be able to push the pace, kind of get up the floor on them, and I just want to see that continue. I also want to see that the scoring output from our 2 through 6, 7, 8 guys continue. Got to find ways to get Ray better looks. He forced a lot of shots tonight that I know he's going to want back, and I know I want back. But hopefully we can shine those things up the next 2 or 3 days in practice. And then, like you said, got a big game against BCN on Friday. So
Carter, thanks so much for your time and best of luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Carter Mauch again, head coach for the Hankinson Pirates. We'll put a bow on this one when we return here from town.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, joined by Matt Askegaard, the coach of the Barnesville Trojans boys basketball team. And going into the Tuesday night game against Breckenridge, you guys, 7 straight wins, 13-4. You're on pace to equal or better your record from last season. Tell me about your season so far.
Yeah, we have. We kind of had a slow start. Everybody goes back to the football season. The boys were able to participate and defend. Ultimately, obviously didn't win the championship, but went late into the season again. Got some guys back from injury. So we're still, I guess I shouldn't say we're still getting into the swing of things, but only 2 returning starters from last year. We graduated 11 seniors. So we've really grown a lot as a group of young men, start learning to play together, still learning those ins and outs and playing with finding a great pace that everybody consistently can play at. So we're still growing, we're still improving, but yeah, we're on a nice little run here. I still think we can do some things better, but we'll take it.
You had mentioned football. I understand Ethan Larson suffered an injury in football season and was going to be late joining you. Has he come back?
Yes, that's kind of a big. It's a huge add to our lineup. As you mentioned, he had a broken fibula. Came back second week, I think, first or second week in January, where he is finally cleared. But he's still rounding himself into basketball shape after basically being not being able to do anything for a month.
Right.
Yeah, him and he provides so much, not just as a player, but he's sitting right with the assistant coaches the games that he wasn't able to participate in. So he's added that voice, not just as a player, but also as somebody that is able to take that step back. But getting him back as a player really helps us.
You still had a couple of all-conference players coming back for this year's team, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We returned senior Zach Bredman, who was an all-conference performer last year. The other one was Gannon Balgren, who's now a junior this year. I'd like to put those guys. I will put those guys up against any 2 guards in our area, in our section for that matter. 2 experienced guys, 2 great floor leaders, 2 guys that can really handle the ball, can shoot it from the outside, can attack the basket and play both ends of the floor. Relentless motors, always rebounding, doing everything that you want a complete basketball player to do.
And who are the fellows that have stepped up to fill the roles of those who graduated?
Yep, those. Well, you mentioned Ethan Larson. Kind of a blessing in disguise was having to throw a junior Isaiah Zajac into the mix right away. Not any varsity experience last year. He started the first 6-7 games until Ethan was ready to go. Since then, he's come off the bench for Ethan. He's filled a 6th, 7th man role, giving Ethan a break. The other 2 starters besides Zach Gannon and Ethan would be Nick Rabidou, who is he's about 5'10". I wish he was about 6'4". I told him that last week, but I'll take his heart because he can elevate. He's really improved his shooting the last couple weeks. And the 5th starter to round out our starting 5 is sniper Brady Nozzle, really good shooter from the outside. He hasn't been happy with his shooting as of late. Quick hands, can get to the rim as well. Good defensive player. That rounds out our starting 5.
How have you seen the competition in the heart of drawing a blank on the name of your Heart of Lakes.
Heart of Lakes.
You have a conference in Wisconsin from way back. Sorry.
No, that's all right. No, we not only us, but a lot of teams graduated a lot of talent last year. But at the same time, every team is going to grow and get better. Mm-hmm. Pelican Rapids is right at the top of our section, not just within our conference, but our section. DGF graduated, obviously, Owen Leach, a generational type of player who is now at Duluth. They're still solid. Our goal each year is to be third at least in the top 3 in the conference. And right now we are going to meet that goal. But every year there's turnover, but every year each team is going to grow and get better and improve throughout the year.
And your schedule this weekend, it's going to be 2 games in 24 hours. Friday night, you're at home against Wadena Deer Creek. Then Saturday, you go to Concordia of Moorhead to take on Frazee. Talk about those games.
Yeah, we've got the last 2 weeks have been really busy. We had 3 games last week. We went Tuesday at home against Minnewaska. Thursday, we were on the road up to Crookston. And then Friday, we are at home against the tough Thief River Falls team. And then this week, we got to basically do the same thing again. We'll host tonight Breckenridge team who hasn't probably played to their potential. If you ask Coach Christensen that, they're always going to be tough, hard-nosed team. As you mentioned, we host Wadena, who is a big section game on Friday. They return basically everybody from last year's team. And Friday, we go to Concordia, get another game on. Hopefully, we'll be playing a few games up at Concordia this year later on in the season against a Frazee team that's much improved. They got 2 young guys, 2 sophomores, the Vegan, who is the coach's son, really good guard, and Sonnenberg, who is a 6'4", 6'5" post player inside, who's really long and athletic. So really, there's no easy games. Any night anybody can win. So you got to bring your best every night.
I take it the section tournament will be at Concordia?
It is. They changed that this year. The last 2 years, obviously because of COVID, Concordia had some restrictions a few years ago and 2-year contracts. This year we'll head back to Concordia. The first 2 rounds will be at the high seed site, and then the semifinal, and I believe it's a semifinal, maybe it's the quarters. I'd have to look at it. But you will get some games at a really fun place to play at Concordia College.
And it seems like you're putting yourself in a good position to host some early round games yourself.
Well, that's the goal. I mean, it's people don't understand how hard it is to go on the road and win. I remember last year we weren't happy with our seed. We ended up getting the 7th seed where we thought we could have been 5. Ended up having a draw against the number 10 seed, Fergus Falls, who is a young team. Not an easy draw. Ended up getting a tough win against them and then going on the road to Perm. I mean, if you ask anybody, you'd rather play at home or on the road come playoff time, I think everybody obviously would play at home. So sure. We're gonna worry about what we can control and take it 1 game at a time. All
right, Matt Askegaard, coach of the Barnesville Trojans boys basketball team, doing very well and hopefully will continue to do so. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Joe.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation after this.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights, or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
We continue on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. We'll chat some Park Christian girls hoops in a moment, but first, here's our one-on-one with Kenyon Wingenbach. Well, joining us now from West Fargo, Sheyenne. He's the head girls basketball coach. That is Kenyon Wingenbach. Here as the Mustangs are sitting fourth right now in the EDC so far, 9-6 on the season. And coach, first things first, I can't believe we're already talking about, February basketball coming up here, which means the EDC tournament is less than a month away. But what have you seen from your squad so far to this point here, Kenyon, to get you a top 4 spot here in the EDC at this point?
It's been quite a process, a lot different than the last couple of years, just because of the youth of the team, and we knew this was coming, so we had things in place. But at the end of the day, when you're primarily starting a senior with 3 sophomores and a freshman, there's going to be some growing pains. But I think just the overall consistent effort is what I've been mostly pleased with this group. It's day in and day out. This is probably one of the best teams in practice consistently that we've had, and it's transferred over to games.
Let's talk about the senior here, Brenna. I know she just broke the career steals record at West Fargo Sheyenne with Maggie Manson, over 232 now and counting here. She's done a lot outside of that, heading to University of Mary coming up in the fall to continue her basketball career as well. What do you like most about Brenna's play in just terms of what she provides to this Mustangs program?
So I think, our first year here was her sophomore year, and she was coming off the bench. She ended up being all conference that year, but it was she was just going 100% all the time, which is great. But it got her in some trouble, got her in some foul trouble, some turnovers, and she needed to learn how to pick her spots a little more. She wanted to become more of a leader. So last year, that was kind of her focus. And then our starting point guard, Peyton Breidenbach, got hurt, and she got an opportunity to do more of that. And this year, she's really taken that to another level. She's one of only 2 seniors we have with Bryn Bishop. And Bryn has just done an amazing job keeping perspective, but also she's probably one of the most competitive kids I've ever been around. And she's doing a great job of finding that balance, like raising everybody's standards, but at the same time, understanding like this is a new group, this is a young group, and we have our own goals and our own path forward.
And then someone, too, who all of a sudden also a record in Cora Metcalf with most blocks in a game with 6. She just broke that here. Cora Metcalf, a lot of people are going to remember the Metcalf name, obviously, at West Fargo Sheyenne the last couple of seasons. But what does Cora, similar question, what does she provide in terms of her ability on and off the court this season?
Cora, in fact, broke her own record last night again. So she had 7 blocks in the first half against South yesterday. So she is now number 1 and 2. But she's finding her way, both on the offensive end and defensive end. It's been a gradual progression. Last year, she was asked to play on the back of our zone, but she was surrounded by the 2 best shot blockers in our school history. So our back line was full of people, including her sister. And this year, without those 2, we've had to kind of make some adjustments. And she's done a great job of just kind of constantly moving forward. But again, she's a sophomore that doesn't have a ton of experience. So we're having to use a lot of these game experiences to help teach these younger kids what it takes, which is part of the process. I think that's the best way you can learn. And they're doing a really good job of taking that and improving as the year goes on.
And then you take a look at a couple other players here before we talk about the landscape of the EDC here, Kenyon. Callan Fosher, I know you mentioned you had her out for a couple of games just kind of with a little bit of an injury, able to bring her back as well. What does she provide now that she's back on the court for you guys here this season?
Well, Callan's a pretty unique talent because she's very athletic. She's a multi-sport kid who is also 5'11", 6 foot, and plays on the perimeter. We've asked her to play a little bit more inside, and then she got injured, and yesterday was her first game back. So we're looking forward to, when she was gone, when she was out, everybody else had to raise their game. And I think that's also what happened last year with Peyton's injury. And when you reinsert her back into the group, and it's going to take a little bit of time to gel, but now everybody's just a little bit better. And then you add in somebody that we relied on heavily at the beginning. But she's a very physical kid. She loves contact. She is very aggressive. And so that's just something that I think we need at this point.
And then Zoe, a really cool story here. You hear it sometimes, right? There's players on any particular sport that maybe don't go out till their junior or senior year. Then all of a sudden, boom, they get a scholarship at that particular sport that they don't play. Others, their friends are coasting them saying, hey, you got to come out. You got to come out. You're going to be really good, type of an athlete. And Zoe is kind of that for you a little bit here, Kenyon, in terms of an underclassman, someone who's got a lot of time for you this season. But talk about Zoe just in terms of her backstory a little bit and what she has provided to the Mustangs this year.
So Zoe developed late, and so we were able to get her a lot of experience last year on the freshman team. She didn't really play a lot of C. She played no JV, and she didn't dress varsity. So for her, she was a long-term project for us. We knew she had some abilities. She's a great kid. And then she found some success at the varsity level in golf the last couple of years. So mentally, she's able to play at our level because that's the level she plays at in golf. But then she hit a growth spurt. She worked on her game. She got a lot quicker and stronger and faster. And all of a sudden this year, she just kind of stepped in and she was ready to take the lead at the point. And she started every game from game one. So against Bismarck High on game one was her first ever game dressing varsity, but she was starting. Like she has started the whole time, and she got injured early, but played through it. And she's just been a rock for us. She's somebody that we don't ever worry about. She's such a sweet kid and a great teammate. And she's had a lot of success this year on the floor too.
Kenyon, for you guys, that this season it's been new to play some Bismarck, play some West, maybe in future years you go to South Dakota, Minnesota, play some non-conference games. What have you liked most about the new 3-division system here in basketball from a coach's perspective with some of these non-conference? And obviously you're still playing your EDC teams twice kind of throughout the year as it has been in prior years. But what have you liked best so far this year?
Well, one of the best parts for us, Wahpeton, Valley, and Devil's Lake were the 3 teams that moved out of our conference. And they have arguably 3 of the best coaches in our conference. And so to see them, we were all just like, yeah, good luck. Yeah, see you later. Which is not always the case, but I have a ton of respect for those coaches. And they're finding a lot of success at that A level. For us, it allowed us to schedule 5 additional games. And so what we did with our schedule, and everybody kind of did it differently, we wanted all West teams. We wanted to schedule teams that we could possibly see in the future, because that state tournament gets a little scary all the time when you've never seen those teams in person. And so we had an opportunity to schedule some of those teams, and we played 4 of the 5 on the road. We went to Bismarck, Minot, Legacy, and Jamestown, and then we got Mandan at home. And it's an amazing opportunity because you get to learn through those experiences like we talked about, but there's really no, if you win, you lose, it doesn't really matter in the long run. It matters with the polls, but it doesn't matter with our conference standings. And so we learned a lot. We got to see some great competition. We got to see some outstanding athletes out West and some good coaches that do a little things differently than some coaches out East. So it was an awesome opportunity. And, I just think that's going to be huge for us, whether we make it to state or not. It's a huge experience thing that this is what we're building towards. This is what the West provides. We know what the East provides. We've got a good picture of what the state has.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because, as you mentioned, you're not playing a team that you've never seen before, maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, depending on if you make state or not. And then you're playing a squad for the fourth time sometimes once you get to that state tournament.
Yep.
Final thing for you here, Kenyon. Trait characteristic. What do you want to see from your girls for the last month of the season here before you get to EDC tournament? What's one thing that you want to see moving forward here to close out the EDC regular season?
So I think for us, we're sitting at the 4 spot, which is good. We're happy where we're at. We have to find a way to compete with those 3 ahead of us, and it's going to start on Friday with Horace. They kind of took it to us at our place the first time. Red River is its own animal, right? And then Davies, for some reason, we never, at least we're consistent, but we never play well at Davies. So we have to find a way within what we do within our system. And we have to find a way to compete, or, that you're just going to be sitting at that 4 spot. And so we're going to take some chances. That's what it's all about. We did that last year. We switched our defense and it sparked us. I'm not saying we have to make any major changes. We just have to tweak some of the things that maybe didn't work as well against those teams. And that's kind of where our mindset is at. If we can compete with those 3 teams, we should be fine with the rest of the conference. And so we have to find a way to get ourselves in that group. And luckily, we still have some time to do that.
Kenyon, always appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time, and best of luck here moving forward, and best of luck against the Hawks on Friday night.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Chase.
On the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, joined by Zach Kakela, the coach of the girls basketball team at Park Christian, who are doing very well. 17-2, I see, and 6 straight wins, including a win last night against Breckenridge. Talk about that game, if you would.
Yeah, that was the girls played really well last night. Breckenridge is a strong team. They play in that tough conference there where they have a lot of tough competition throughout the course of the year. And it was just back and forth. We were able to get a little bit of a lead at halftime, and then just kind of came down to the stretch there. We were able to make some free throws, make some of the plays we needed to on both ends of the floor, and ended up getting out of there with a 4-point victory. But Breckenridge is a really tough team. They're going to be around when tournament time starts and everything like that. But I was really proud of the kids and their effort last night and the way they got after it on both ends of the floor, the way they stuck together, communicated, and executed ultimately down the stretch there to get that win for them.
It sounds a little bit like a win you had earlier this month against Ada Borough. You were down double digits at one stage in the first half, but came back to win that one too.
Yeah, that was another close game. Some of our conference has really challenged us this year at times, and we've had to find ways to win games in the second half. We've had to find different ways. Different kids have stepped up at different times, and that game against Ada was kind of one of those examples there. The kids in the second half, we were down a little bit. We were able to get ourselves organized and kind of come together. And that second time we played them, we snuck out of there with just a 2-point victory. So, that was a close game, but just hats off to the kids for sticking in there during those tough times. And hopefully some of these experiences that we're running into during the regular season will pay off down the stretch here and help when tournament time starts as well. So, but that was a really close game against Ada as well. And they've been playing well this year too. So.
Looking at the roster, there are a lot of very familiar names from last year. Is having that extra year of experience something that's been part of what's been fueling the Falcons?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a big part of it. We've got our 4 returning starters kind of from last year there. Avery Ockery, who's been with the program for 6 years now, and on her 4th year starting. She kind of leads us on both ends of the floor, kind of our floor general there, gets us set into our offense and stuff like that. And she's really had a great year on both ends of the floor. And, I think it's ultimately hard to outwork her. She's one of the hardest working players I think I've ever been around. And so she really helps make us go. And then, we got Casey Andreessen. She's our only junior, but she's so valuable to us on both ends of the floor, and especially the defensive end. She ends up with a lot of the tougher defensive assignments night in and night out, and she communicates well with the team. And does a lot of great things on both ends of the floor. Strong rebounder, strong post defender, can guard on the perimeter as well. So, having her back has been super valuable. And then we got our two sophomores, Libby Sukert, she's been shooting the ball really well. She's been growing as a player on both ends of the floor. Her decision making has gotten stronger. She's really come around and playing good this year. And then Annika Johnson as well. She's kind of been, both of those sophomores have been playing for 2 years now. And you can tell the experience and the growth that's happened in those 2 years, some of the circumstances they've had to work through. And so having those 4 kids back have really been a big part of being able to grow and have the success we've had this year. And then just a good mix with the other kids. We got our 5th starter sometimes varies just depending on night to night and matchups and kind of what works best personnel wise. So we'll swap between Rebecca Peterson, who is one of our taller, longer inside players. So if we need a post presence, she's been doing excellent this year and getting better every game. And then Ellie Rogness comes in at times and is able to stretch the floor for us with some length and height and knock down outside shots and kind of make those bigs on other teams uncomfortable if they're not necessarily used to being out on the perimeter guarding and doing some of those defensive things. So, that group's been really good for us. Elika Johnson, our other senior, she plays some minutes here and there and just does such valuable things for the team off the floor and leadership-wise, and maybe things that don't necessarily show up in the statistics or things like that, but really help us grow as a team, really help us unite as a team, and really help some of those youngsters that are new into the program kind of developing and growing as well. So, it's been a really good mix of kids. Couple more sophomores, Haley Free and Donica Free. They've been kind of coming off the bench as well, and they played last year sometimes. And like I said, you can tell the growth over the years. Some of the games, they played in the conference championship last year and have found themselves in some big games that has really helped their growth and experience and some of that. So just really proud of the kids this year and some of the kids that have been back. Freshman-wise, Ashlyn Forty has been playing really well for us, scoring some points here and there, and I expect her to be kind of a big part of what happens down the stretch. Sierra Carlson has come off the bench as a freshman and played some spot minutes here and there, just valuable minutes in the second half. And her IQ is high. She understands what we're doing on both ends of the floor. And that really helps when you get those young kids who are bought into the system. They kind of working their way into it a little bit, but at the same time have the talent and some of the things you need to get out on the floor there for you. And then just to wrap it up, we only got 15 kids in the program. So I got 4 left. And, Molly Rogness and Alexa Gregg, they come off the bench and play a lot for our JV, but their development and growth has been huge over the years too here. And, I don't think our JV has lost this year actually either. Wow. So they're doing a really good job down there at that time and getting valuable minutes and developing. And then I got 2 more freshmen, Zoe Levang and Taylor Card, and they kind of helped down there. Been kind of learning the varsity system slowly, play more JV minutes. But when you got a small program like that, they're super valuable for practice, right? And just making sure practices are up tempo, that competition is good in practice. And it's really been a nice balance this year between our experienced kids, our older kids, and then some of the youth that's been around and just getting into the system here. So just proud of all the kids this year. They've all played really well, especially the ones who have been around here for a while.
I'm getting the sense that with the close games you've had too and the success, we can add another ingredient to that, and that's confidence, and that can be contagious.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of hoping, right? You don't always like to find yourself in those tough games down the stretch, but they build a little bit of character, I think. And I think the kids have learned from some of those experiences. We've had to find different ways to come back. It always hasn't been the same recipe in a sense. We've had different kids step up at different times. And we've just had to find multiple ways to win some of these games this year. Like I said, I'm really proud of all the wins and the victories, but I can't say they have been easy or, just, some of the games we've been able to pull away a little bit, but there's been a lot of them where we've been in them in the second half and had to find ways to win. And I'm hoping that experience can come into play down the stretch here and get us ready for the important games at the end of February and early March.
Now, are you in 8A or 6A?
We are in 6A, so
Okay.
a lot of talented teams in 6A. So,
Who are some of the teams you think are teams to beat there? And I'm guessing you'd include yourself in that.
well, I'd like to think so anyway. We kind of just work one day at a time and stay focused on getting better every day. But, Underwood plays really good basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been strong for a lot of years, execute really well, very well coached. Hillcrest actually beat us once this year, and they got a lot of young talent too. They don't have a ton of seniors on that team, but they got some young kids who can play. And if they're ready to go that day and happen to be hot, they're a tough team to beat too. Ada's one of those teams. And like I said, a lot of teams in the conference we've played this year have challenged us, and we've had to find ways to beat. I'm really happy that the kids have found those victories, but I could almost name every team. Ada challenged us, Norman County East, we had to find a way, Lake Park Audubon, Winds-Minnewaukan, Climax Fisher, which is a game you did there, was close too. I think we won that one by 6 or 7. So we've just been kind of sticking together, trying to stay focused, stay in the present, and just win the games we can, kind of be 1-0 every day if we can kind of do that. So,
And your next chance.
And then I guess, I'm sorry, but on the south side too, Hancock and then Breckenridge, right? So, there's a lot of teams in 6A. I think the section and subsection tournaments are going to be competitive this year, and we're hoping that we can peak at the right time and be playing our best basketball when it matters most. So
Absolutely.
That time of year.
Now, your next chance to be 1-0 will be on Friday night when you go to Fargo Beltrami, and this is, I think, starts 4 straight games on the road for you.
Yeah, it is actually. I think we got Fertile, and then if I'm right, I think Wingenbach, Brandon, Evansville, and then we jump over to, I think, Sacred Heart, or maybe not quite after that. Maybe I got them in the next week. But yeah, we got some really good games down the stretch here with some good teams, and I think I'm kind of excited for that, just to kind of get us built up for tournament time. I think it's a good time of year to start playing these competitive teams and make sure that you're kind of gearing up and strengthening your team as much as you can for the run down the stretch. So.
And something else, the Park Christian basketball programs, boys and girls, something to look forward to or be happy about is you've got a brand new gym.
Yeah, we did. We moved in there in January, so it's been a really nice facility. We got bleachers on the baseline, a little bit bigger, nice scoreboard and everything, and we've really been enjoying it in there. It took a second for the girls to get comfortable, kind of shooting in there with some of the new things, but they've kind of settled in over these last few games. And yeah, it's been a really great space, and we're really excited as a school and as the teams to have that available to us and continue to play in there as we move forward. So it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, it hasn't been long. It was kind of right after the new year we started playing in there. So
yeah, getting used to a new home is always something, whether it's real life or a new home court gym.
Yeah, I think some of it, some of the shooting stuff, you just get used to seeing things a certain way, I think, from a shooting psychology standpoint in certain gyms. And the baselines are a little bit bigger. Now we can have fans down there, maybe a few things that can catch the girls' eye. So I think it's just taking a little bit of time to get used to their new home. But I think these last few games, I think they're getting settled in more and more all the time. And hope that just continues here this last month of the season. So.
Park Christian girls basketball doing very well this season. Zach Kakela, we hope that continues. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do for high school sports. We really appreciate the broadcasting and just being at the games and everything you do to kind of promote it. So we do appreciate that too.
And that's our pleasure. And we'll continue on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, right after this.
College goes far beyond the buildings, classrooms, and the tests. It's about making new friends, trying something different, and discovering your purpose. It's about getting involved, supporting your community, and joining the conversation. It's about learning, growing, and finding your passion. This is not your average classroom. This is the University of Minnesota Crookston.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada, invites you to order your new Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazer, and Traverse, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet dealer, providing sales and service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch Smurfer J. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada. Call 218-784-2000.
I'm Freya Engen. I'm confident during the match, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Lily Bell. I'm confident on the court, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one, American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
As we wrap up the show, we'll hear from four Winds-Minnewaukan standout Deng in our senior spotlight in a moment. But James Martin's had an opportunity to sit down with Jesse Vogt. Here's our one-on-one conversation talking North Star boys basketball.
On the Coaches Show here this evening, we're chatting with North Star head boys basketball coach Jesse Vogt. Jesse, first of all, thanks for the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Coach, it's been a great season for your guys, and I'd like to think as a coach that you relish in the fact that you've had these guys, a lot of these guys, for so long and have been able to coach them for so long. It's got to be a pretty special feeling for them to get to be seniors now.
Yeah, I've probably started them when they were fourth graders, so we're looking at 8-9 years where the amount of time that these kids have been playing some sort of activity together, more so basketball. The Bisbee kid, we obviously brought him over from Leeds when he was a freshman, but he did play with us when he was younger. So, we've had them. They've been around, and it's going to be a sad day when it's over.
And getting a special opportunity, I don't know if any other coach in the state of North Dakota can say that they are a head boys basketball coach and a head baseball coach in the same school, same year, that sort of thing. So pretty special to have that continuity with these kids from one sport to another.
Yeah. Basically I'm with them from December through the beginning of August, if you make the Legion State tournament, which we've been fortunate enough the last couple of years. So, I don't know. I hope they're not sick of me, but, our time's coming to an end here quickly, but it's been fun. It's the atmosphere changes a little bit once you go from basketball to baseball, and you're kind of in a different environment, a little bit more laid back. You're just kind of working more on individual skills when we get into the baseball season, but, they've and most of them play basketball and baseball. So they're with me for 3/4 of the year.
Talking basketball specifically, of course, we've all talked about the 3 division system all year long, and how that's been maybe great for some programs, maybe not as great for others. And I think you guys are in the former category where it's been a great adjustment for you guys.
Yeah. We still miss playing some of those Class A teams. Obviously we've played, I think we played Carrington and Hinton Hillsboro, and we went 1-1 against those two teams. But we had some rivalries that were starting to form with some of the Class A schools, and we lost those. But now we're starting to form some now again with teams that we maybe played before and they lost them, and now we're back playing against them again. So some unfamiliar faces that are some familiar faces that are coming back to us now. But yeah, it's been, I don't know. I guess we can sit and reflect on it after a year or two to see if it's good or bad. Obviously where we are right now, we're enjoying where we are. So.
14-1 on the season. Of course, maybe on bad luck for you guys, because your only loss was our game last Friday against Hillsborough Central Valley, and just a tough game from start to finish. I know you mentioned on the pregame that your guys are kind of banged up and ill, and that played a part in it. But nice bounce back game against North Prairie. Talk about that in a little bit. But what do you feel like your team learned from that loss to the Burros?
Yeah, like you said, I've told people over and over again, people keep asking what happened, and I said we're not going to make excuses, but like you said, we had some guys that were banged up. We've had sickness going through our program. The week before we went on the road and we're missing 4 B squad kids because of sickness, and it's starting to creep on through the varsity. I think we're hopefully getting over that right now. And I guess in terms of taking something away, we didn't rebound very well. We didn't keep the Olsen kid off the glass. He's a monster inside. We knew that going in. He was one that we were going to have to focus on, and we didn't do a very good job of it. And like you said, we threw our presses on, and we just left guys open, and they hit shots. We didn't shoot the ball very well, and they did. And so a little bit of uncharacteristic on our side of things. And last night we kind of turned a little bit around, and we threw our press on a little bit and got some easy buckets there. And we hit some shots from the outside and kind of found some energy early. We lost it, but then we gained it back, and we were able to finish strong.
Coach, again, 14-1 in the 14 wins from the start of the year to now. What do you feel like your team has progressed in the most?
Obviously we're gaining some more valuable experience. Every game is a gain of experience. And we've, like you said, we've had guys in and out of the lineup and just trying to figure out who's going to be the consistent. This is your job. This is going to be your role come postseason time. And that's what we're going to have to figure out and establish, and what works for us. And if there's adjustments that we have to make, going into postseason, there might be some stuff we're working on that we're not showing right now as with everybody else. And we have to keep our consistency shooting the basketball well and rebounding well. If we do those two things, we'll be just fine.
Talking about, we talked about your team, your group of seniors a little bit as a collective, but looking at them individually, of course, as I mentioned in the pregame, everybody knows Deng Hagler. Everybody knows the Hagler name. And we talked to Deng, and we're going to have him on a future senior spotlight. But I mentioned as well, me getting a chance to watch these guys grow up from my time in rugby. I noticed that Parker and Carson Simon have really just exploded into outstanding playmakers, and unfortunately it didn't show on Friday, but your thoughts on how they complement the rest of the team?
Big time. They've and from when they were little, it was just a matter of them growing into their bodies, and I think they're there at this point in time. They're still getting a little out of control once in a while, but trying to slow them down here and there. But Carson had to step up when Deng was hurt there for 3-4 games in the middle of the season. Carson had to step up and play a whole different position. And he was scoring the basketball beforehand, and he had nights where he didn't score anything, and so I was just trying to keep him from not getting frustrated and say, you're in a different position now. You got to run our offense. And he did a fabulous job of it. We needed him there, and he did exactly what we asked him to do. Parker, on the other hand, he has been a fairly consistent scorer for us all year long. The 10 to 25 point range is, and if he's on, he's on. And that's just going to help those two just grow as we get down this home stretch here. We got to have another scorer. So teams can't just focus in on Deng. And so far I'm really happy with what those two have done throughout the year. They can guard inside, outside, and they're leaders.
The rest of your guys, as far as that class, you got Dilly and Bisbee and Westland, and those guys that maybe aren't the flashiest. They don't show up on a lot of statewide media or such, but I know they're principal players for your guys.
Most definitely. We've ran anywhere from 6 to 8 guys, I guess. And the Brett Dilly and Garrett Westland have been steady starters for us this year. And obviously we've got Chaz Bisbee and Hunter Hagler coming off the bench right now, as well as Brody Sphere as an 8th man. And those guys have been just as valuable to our team, whether it's in practice or it's a role player on the court. Obviously we got to have 5 guys, and I don't feel like any of those 5 guys that we have on the court at any point in time, you need to hide them, because they can all produce something to our lineup.
Looking ahead to what else is down the line. Again, a big win last night over North Prairie. You've got Langdon area, St. John at home, North Border on the road. That's going to be a tough one. And you finish out the season at home against Mayport CG. Your thoughts on the remaining schedule?
Yeah, it's nice that 3 out of the 4 of them are at home. And if you look at our district standings, if I remember correctly, everybody below us had at least 2 losses. So obviously we don't want to have that in the back of our head that we can still lose a game and be the 1 seed going into the district tournament. Obviously that's our first goal, but we just got to make sure that we're ready to go every night, because you look at Mayport CG, they might be down in that district, but look at what they did with Hillsborough last night, and so you have to be ready to go every single night. And if you aren't, anyone can knock you off.
Coach, 1 or 2 more developments I want to touch on. It's always a fun thing to look at coaches and their histories and their families and their connections. And for the longest time, it was a dynamic duo with you and your wife, Jill, who for the longest time was the girls' head coach, and she's stepped away to do some other things. But your thoughts on having that ability to not just in season, but out of season bounce basketball off each other?
Yeah, we still do. She had walked into the door last night and we had a 5-10 minute conversation about how the game went, and things like that. And, she's still there, watching basketball, and she's as good as anyone, in terms of the X's and O's. And, and so it's nice that you come home and you can have a conversation of what you're frustrated about or what you need to fix, or if she saw something or, whatever, something like that.
And of course, we don't know obviously what it's going to look like at the end, but things are looking good for you guys to make a quality run. How special could the rest of this season be, not just for you and the team, but for this North Star community?
Yeah, and we've got a big target on our back, and pressure's starting to build a little bit. People are obviously talking about how far we could make it. We've got to keep in our boys' heads that we can't listen to that. That's for people that want to talk and visit, and they can enjoy all that stuff. We just have to keep things confined within ourselves and worry about we'll worry about Langdon tomorrow. We got about an hour and 15-minute practice today, and it's going to be focusing on ourselves and focusing on our next opponent. And as long as we can keep everything within ourselves and keep our composure, the sky's the limit for us.
Coach, anything else you want to mention here on the Coach's Show?
No, like I said, just thank you for having Dane and I guess, on your show, and hopefully we'll see you down the road.
Absolutely. Again, that's head coach of the North Star boys basketball team, Jesse Vogt. We'll have Dane Hagler's conversation a little bit later on in the year, maybe towards the end of the Coach's Show program as we're getting ready for baseball on our senior spotlight. But that's the head coach of the Bearcats. And Jesse, best of luck the rest of the way, and we may see you down the road at a particular playoff game.
Sounds good. Thank you.
On the Your Live Event Coaches Show here today, it's our Senior Spotlight segment, and I'm talking with Deng of Four Winds High School, Four Winds-Minnewaukan boys basketball senior, and he's certainly lit up the floor with some outstanding plays and some great games and some great moments for Four Winds-Minnewaukan, and he's going to do some great things at the collegiate level next year. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Deng, thanks for coming aboard and for sharing your time with us today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. All right. No problem.
Yeah. So, Deng, let's talk about kind of your journey. I want to know about kind of young Deng and how you got interested in not just basketball, but interested in sports and started playing and some of the moments that led you to Four Winds-Minnewaukan.
Oh, yeah. Well, ever since I was younger, I would always watch like NFL and NBA. So like my two favorite players is probably like Julio Jones and Jimmy Butler growing up. So I always like really loved sports just growing up, and be able to play like competitive during middle school and high school was like pretty fun as well. So
yeah, kind of what drew you into those sports? Do you remember playing as a kid with your classmates or with your schoolmates or anything like that? Kind of walk me through just starting to learn the game.
Yeah, I actually started playing organized basketball first with it's like a traveling team called Wood Lake. I started playing when I was fourth grade summer, and that was like my first time playing basketball with like our people here from the school.
Yeah, awesome. And kind of walk me through now your high school time of playing both football and basketball. Are there some favorite moments? Is there a favorite game? Is there a moment that sticks out to you as something that's special for you?
Yeah, for football, it's probably like sophomore season when we made the playoffs for like the second time in school history. And then for basketball, it's probably like when we won the state championship in 22. So that was an amazing one.
Now, this last year, you, of course, on the Winds-Minnewaukan football team, you made All-State, and you got to play quarterback, running back, receiver. You had some great plays on defense as well. You're getting looked at UND where you're going next to play wide receiver, but were there any of those other positions that you really enjoyed that maybe you didn't think you were going to enjoy, but you really enjoyed?
Probably QB. Like I played QB during middle school, so it was like fun to get back and to playing it like my final year of high school football. So it was pretty fun to just like run around with the ball and throw it. So
what did it mean to you to be selected All-State for football?
It was I was just very happy because like it was like our first time in school history that was a first team All-State because my teammate Dale Leffler, he was the first one actually in his sophomore year or our sophomore year 2 years ago to be selected like in general from the school. So it's really just like a blessing because like it really was like a football school.
And you've gotten a chance to see a lot in your time at Winds-Minnewaukan. You've been part of a state championship team and navigating to the three-class system, getting a chance to play so many teams from all around the state. Were there any other particular games or teams or players that you played against that really stand out in your time at Winds-Minnewaukan?
We played against like a great amount of players like over the years, but one probably got to be like playing Joe Herbert my sophomore year because like he's like at Colorado right now, so he was like, and he's like 7 foot, so he's like it was like pretty fun to play against him because like one of a kind player right there.
And let's get into your college decision here. I think you surprised a lot of people across the state of North Dakota when, of course, everybody knows you for your basketball prowess, but when you decided to go to UND to play for Bubba Schweigert and the Fighting Hawks, walk me through that process and coming to that final decision.
Yeah, they just been showing me like a lot of love since like junior year with like a bunch of invites onto campus and stuff, and like they just like over the past summer is like what really like made my final decision because like I just kept coming on campus and then I showed up at their camp and then they showed me a lot of love there. Like I had a one-on-one conversation with Coach Bubba and then we just like talked about like my ceiling for like football and basketball, and then like at the end of the day I just really thought that my the sky's the limit for like for football and at UND.
And I know UND has been advancing a lot over the last few years as far as their program getting deeper and deeper into the FCS playoffs. Your thoughts on getting a chance to play some of that competition at the collegiate level?
It would be very exciting and just to because like I never like it would just be like because this is like the first time around here that I would ever get to see like talent and competitiveness like that. So it's gonna be fun to compete with a bunch of those other guys.
And talking to your head coach, the great Rick Smith, a little bit before the interview, of course, a lot of promising athletes, their work ethic shows at this point in their career, and it's certainly shown with you putting in that extra time, putting in that extra work, and I know without going into too much detail, you faced a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges in your young adult life already. What keeps you going? What fuels that drive to keep you working hard?
It's just like wanting to be the greatest I could be and just like reach my potential at the end of the day. Like I just want to like not go into college and stuff thinking like I should have worked harder or like I could have achieved something if I worked harder here or then. So I really just like worked on my hardest so I could just get every chance I could and take care of every opportunity.
You're talking a lot about sports. To sidestep a little bit into the classroom, Coach Smith telling me that you're going to be the school's valedictorian at the end of the year. Pretty exciting stuff. What keeps you going in the classroom?
Oh, it's just that like most of our coaches, like they know that like you ain't gonna step on the floor if you're not performing in the classroom. So it's just like wanting to be the best at just like basically everything I do. So like whether that's in the weight room, on the field, court, or even in the classroom, it's just like wanting to just reach my potential, like I said. So I do that in the classroom as well.
Do you have a favorite class, a favorite subject, a favorite topic in school?
I'll probably have to say math, just because it's like fun to like when it's like really hard at first, and then like you just like keep working, and then just learn how to do it, and then I feel like it's just like a nice moment to have, like when you finally learn something that you struggle with.
And when you're not on the floor, on the basketball court or on the football field, what do you like to do? What keeps you interested? What does Deng do when he's not playing sports?
I usually hang with my friends, like be at my friend's house and stuff. But if I'm just home, then I just play video games, which is like Madden. I really like playing Madden.
You have a favorite team or favorite player you always want to be on your Madden team?
Not really. I just usually just like switch it up because like I don't think it's fun just to be one team every time, even when they're like the best team in Madden.
Yeah, awesome. And anything else in your high school time at Winds-Minnewaukan? Any other favorite experiences that have kind of made you the person that you are today?
I think like I really wouldn't say as a favorite, but like I really think that like the failures I had here, like with like losing in the state semifinals my freshman year and losing junior year, like I feel like that really like just like made me work harder at the end of the day, and then that it just really just like helps keep me going, and then just stay like humble, because like you really could just like lose or anything could happen at any moment, so you just have to work all your hardest like almost every single day.
Deng, your high school career is coming to an end within the next couple of months. What do you want your final legacy to be when people think of Deng in a few years from now? What you hope that they think of?
I hope they just think of like I just motivate like people to just like do something even if it haven't been done before, like for this program or this community or not. Like I hope like I could just like inspire like kids and athletes and stuff to just like go for wherever they're working for, like no matter like what it is, you really could just achieve anything if you just like put all your focus on work into it.
Deng, any other career goals or any other accomplishments you hope to achieve in the future, maybe on the football field or outside the football field?
Yeah, I hope to just get UND's first D1 national championship. That'd be great to have for like this whole community.
Yeah. Fantastic. Deng, just want to get to know you just a little bit more as we're wrapping up our interview here. Do you have a pregame ritual, pregame snacks, pregame music playlist? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I usually listen to music like or in the locker room. We usually just have like a bunch of music going like for the whole team. Like it just has like probably like King Von, Young Boy, and like some Lil Baby and stuff. And for snacks, I just usually just I like to eat like a candy like before the game just to like get me like energized and stuff. So I usually just get like Skittles or like Gushers or something.
Awesome. Deng, anything else you want to mention to either your current coaches, past coaches, anybody that's helped you get to this point, or anything else you want to mention here on the Coaches Show?
Yeah, it was a very blessing to have the coaches I have like over the past few years, because they really played a huge part in like just me reaching like my potential and where I'm at right now. Like they just really just like pushed me to keep going and just gave me all the resources and stuff whenever I needed. So it's just very blessing to have all of them.
That's Deng, a senior at Four Winds High School, part of the Four Winds-Minnewaukan boys basketball team. You can catch their game this Saturday against Hillsborough Central Valley on yourliveevent.com. We'll also see Deng at the Region 2 Division A boys basketball tournament coming up in Mayville State in March. Deng, thanks for the time. Best luck the rest of the way. We'll see you down the road.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
That's the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show. Make sure you join us every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for another edition of the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show. It's presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation.